And now, we're going to be seeing the result of that, question mark? Not quite the result. There's a term for it, not the conclusion. It'll come to me when it comes to me, as we kick off our first pre-qualifying match here on Romanticide LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner, map spotting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player coming down from the land of New Zealand. He is going to be representing Mind Freak Gaming. He is Crimson. Very
color. Yeah, let's go! Because spawning in the top left-hand corner, rocking his blue color, we have the Australian Terran currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. Representing Team Opus V, it is Azure.
Classic red versus blue.
Oh boy, classic red versus blue. I can't wait to see the chat catch up again with the surprising results here. Unfortunately, we did miss out on game number 1 between these two players, and as a reminder, the winner of this series will go up. What?
We're in the middle of the series?
Yes, yeah. As I said, Azure is up 1-0. And the winner of this series, as we were following the other kind of section of the bracket, winner of the series goes up against Quantel.
Indeed, they do in the pre-qualifying round.
Exactly.
I'm still adjusting my brain to not see semifinals as qualifying matches and to see them as just best of 3 pre-qualifying matches.
Semifinals, mate. Just
actual semifinals. Yeah, seeing semifinals is just semifinals.
Yeah. shaking my head. But yeah, again, unfortunately, we weren't able to catch game number 1, so we don't really know what happened there in that game, how it turned out. But I'm excited to see these two do good out on Romanticide, you know, a map that lends a little bit more to these longer macro games.
Yeah, and we'll see if Azure is even willing to let it get to that stage. I imagine he's going to be very aggressive, very in your face on top of Crimson, and probably going to go for a lot of multi-progs that we typically know him for.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait here. We saw that come to full fruition yesterday when it came to Oreo versus Azure on this very map. If you remember, Azure was all over the place, but Oreo was just barely able to keep up and survive long enough for those ultras.
Yeah, the ultras with 3-3 and with kindness plating was just enough to break through Azure's defenses. Even though he had a lot of bio and he had them very well split up, he just did not have the damage to crack through that kindness plating.
Exactly. Just barely not enough. But Crimson is a very different kind of player. If you remember, Oreo, he did go just Ling Bane straight into Hive. But Crimson, I feel like he's the kind of player to mess a little bit more around with something like Mutas. I say that, mate. That's a fast lair.
Very fast lair. These guys are starting to be taken, but it's actually going to be a Rotorn first already. Yeah. Makes sense.
Exactly. Jesus Christ, we're going to be seeing some Roach aggression coming out from Crimson. Meanwhile, Azure, he still has his Reaper. He still has these Hellions. Can he get into the main base? Can he scout? What the hell is going on?
Will he be able to? This is not a Terran force that can really get too much drone damage, and I'm pretty sure Azure is aware of that. He needs to make a decision to either just jump in for a scout or to back away and regroup, and he goes for the latter.
Yeah, oh my god, and this is terrifying because we see what the lair was for, and it's for a Nidus. Oh my god, and what's terrifying is that these Hellions, like, they're gonna do nothing against Roaches and Queens, mate. They tickle Roach Queen. Meanwhile, Azure at home, he's not going for a Banshee, he is going for a BC.
I'm just looking at, I mean, the BC will take a long time to come out, but once it's out, it's decent against the Roachinitis. I will say this though, I'm looking at the minimap right now and I don't see a lot of vision in the main base for Azure. Thankfully he does have a spotter, Marine though.
He has a spotter, but it doesn't matter, mate. It's gonna finish. I mean, the boys are being pulled. Can he stop the Nidus from going up?
Hellion from the low ground, it's trying. The SCVs are trying to get as good a body block as they can. but they are just not quick enough. Queens and Roaches will make it out. Enough of them to really put the hurt on Azure.
Aye, and with this, the Roach Queen is pushing on forward. Sure, a BC is on the way, but one BC is not going to change the tide of battle here. Again, the problem is that, like, again, the Hellions, what are they going to do here? They can't fight this.
They can buy some time, but that's about it. The other Nidus pops out, and the rest of Crimson's reinforcements are here. Azure is forced to give up the high ground.
He is forced to give it up, mate. He's gonna try and come back in. He pulls the boys. The boys are here to try and hold the line. He's trying to buy enough time for the BC to come out.
It's a decent surround, but the SCVs are going down. All 35, 36 of them. The BC will finally pop out, and it is helping him stabilize a little bit, but there's enough anti-air on the Queen to really take that out. No more SCVs to repair that BC either. GG's call. Crimson takes us to the ace match.
Wow, Crimson Ben Bong himself. He does it. He takes it to the ace match with the Nidus play.
Very well executed. Such a good job of denying the scout from Azure as well. Especially when you start to poke in by the third base location. And also, I had a question earlier on for Cether, which is, what's a bean boom? But now I realize that's Ben Bong.
Is that why you were like, oh, are you serious?
It was.
Shaking my head, Yaku, shaking my head. It's his name. It's Ben. God,
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. But it looks like bean.
Shaking my head, baby. We're going to the ace match. We're going. We're getting out of here.
We are going to be concluding this quarterfinal and jumping into our semifinals.
Exactly. And honestly, so going into this series, especially with Azure being up 1-0, I was like, yo, right, Azure, he's just going to clean things up. He just took down Raza, one of the strongest players in this bracket. I thought it was going to be, a one and done deal, but no, Crimson says no. He fights back. And now, mate, this is anyone's game.
Absolutely is. Azure, if he can get in his stride, is really going to be terrifying, but Crimson has proven in that last game he knows how to prevent Azure from getting there.
I think he knows that in a longer macro game, Azure has the advantage, right? So he's just gonna try and stop them getting there.
How is he gonna do it though? As we conclude this best of 3 series on 2,000 atmospheres. LE, we're in the top right hand corner map, starting all the way to the top right hand corner. We have a blue Terran player coming down from the land of Brisbane, looking to avenge his fallen Brisbanean. Is that the right whatchamacallit? Not adjective, the other one. Yeah, regardless. Representing Team Opus V, he is Azure.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres, LE, we have the New Zealand Zerg player. He is red, representing Team Mind Freak. It is Crimson.
Old Benjamin Bongjamin himself. Spaz is informing us.
yeah, exactly. Like, mate, this old dog, it still has its old tricks, it's great, it's beautiful,
and it's effective too.
Oh god, it really is, but it's one of those things that make, it's kind of, you throw it in once in a best of series, right? You can't rely on that again. So I'm curious to see what else Crimson has in store for us here. Are we going to see another faster lair? If we do, are we going to see something like faster mutas? Are we going to see more Roach play instead?
Well, we're about to find out, as both players are just starting to hit their stride. Did Azure skip the Reaper? No, he does have a Reaper moving across the map. I was worried for a sec when I didn't see a safety Marine.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
He actually didn't go for a Reaper.
Yeah, he didn't. So you should be worried.
I'm very worried right now.
Yeah, it's so greedy. Oh my god. Like, no Marine, no Safety Marine, no Reaper. Jesus. I have to have
canceling the initial Marine so he can get the factory out as quick as he can. Oh, good nearly on the third.
Yeah, impressive, especially without a Reaper, right? He's still able to delay the third a little bit. Oh god. But mate, I've got a story to tell you, and it was insane, right? So we have these economic openers from Terran players, right? Especially in this matchup, we see like third CC before Starport and stuff like that, right?
Fairly often, yeah.
Yeah. So earlier today, we were casting Sinner versus Eggs, and Sinner did something even crazier, mate. I think it was on Blackburn as well. This madman, he went for a Rax into a Rax into a CC.
What?
And he skipped his Reaper as well. I was on the upside, I'm pretty sure it was
not
on the
a
upside.
3 racks, not a 2-on-1. Double rack CC?
Yeah, and then factory. It was a CC. It was a CC before factory, mate. That's what it was. It was crazy.
What did he do with that double racks?
Oh, he died is what he did. That's what he did with that double racks, mate. Oh my god, he amassed Marines, and unfortunately, because of his build, and he was also delaying his tank as well, because he was going straight into a reactor, into a swap with the Starport for a double medevac production to send a drop across the map. Eggs was going for a massive Roach all-in, so...
Oh, well.
Yeah, but like, that was probably the craziest thing I've seen all day, mate. Like, I was rivaling what Oreo did to Quantel in game 1.
Yeah. I'm sure I was probably watching that series too, taking down notes and be like, I want to do that, but maybe I'll just settle for skipping the Reaper and the safety Marine. So I'm getting double rack CC.
Oh boy, exactly. God damn it, Sinner. Meanwhile, once again, Crimson is going for that fast lair, rushing it as soon as possible, but this time he has a Baneling Nest, so this could be a little bit more standard, just getting that lair for Baneling speed, to make sure he has that for the defense.
Which isn't quite going to help him with this drop, but thankfully there are enough Lings in position to just chase that away. For now, Azure not overextending too much. He is just skirting around the edges of creep, seeing what he can pick off.
Exactly. So far, this drop achieving nothing does get pushed away. Also, Funada Duckville in the chat. Yaku, we call them Brisbaneese people. There you go.
Ah.
I don't think that's accurate, by the way. That's
or Bogans.
Shaking my head.
Bogans were a little bit further inland, but I don't know much about Australia.
Oh boy. Meanwhile, mate, this is we got a lot of Hellions here, mate.
Yeah, these 706 Hellions coming out, but it's more than we've seen from Azure so far. It's doing such a good job of clearing the creep, and makes it out with all of them alive.
Yeah, I think what's odd to me... Yeah,
he even dipped into the creep for that, and it actually worked out for him.
Yeah, he actually took down a queen as well, and mate, that wasn't your standard 6 Hellions. This is 7. That's what's crazy about it.
What?
Oh god. Yeah.
The magic number right between 6 and 8.
Exactly. Meanwhile, as the Hellions were distracting the queens, we did have the Liberator come in, get a decent amount of worker kills. At the same time, we do have this drop. Ooh, just barely keeping the medevac alive.
Very barely is able to take out a queen as well, but this medevac should be going down. The queen is very far off creep though, and it buys the medevac enough time to dip out.
Yeah, that gives an opportunity for the Hellions to dive in once again, trying to get to that creep tumor. Ooh, almost does.
Yeah, unfortunately not every one of the Hellions were able to connect on that. That's kind of the tricky part of utilizing the AoE. You don't want to throw in a scan just yet.
Yeah, and I want to honestly, I'm surprised. Again, Crimson, he's playing this straight up, right? Just straight up Ling Bane. You know, he already has Baneling speed. 1-1 is on the way. We have a macro hatchman thrown down. Can he really pull this off against Azure? That's what I'm curious about. So far, he has more or less been able to defend against the early game aggression, but now here we go, Azure. He's working on his push.
That he is. 1-1 is on the way. Stim finished up a while ago, and he has combat shields as well. Or does he?
He does not. Did he forget combat shields? Oh no. Oh no.
I think he might have.
Yeah, mate. Hashtag just tearing things, man. Sometimes it just happens.
I know it all too well. But the push is starting to come in. This is really where Azure starts hitting his stride.
Oof.
Very good connection on that Widow Mine. Azure pulling back a little bit because of the Ling Bane. It's going to be very tough for him to push into that without any Widow Mines. So Widow Mines are all back at home. And Crimson, behind all of this, is getting a very quick infestation pit.
It is. He is, mate. He's going straight into Lair, right? He's pulling an Oreo. He's trying to go straight Ling Bane into those ultras. And so far, he's doing well in the defense. He pulled away the attention of Azure, but here we go. Azure, he's pushing on forward. The armory is done. We see the Hellions morphed into those Hellbats.
He's going to be able to take a couple of Baneling shots and ideally clear out the Lings before they can really get the surrounds on top of the Marines. Azure trying to find whatever damage he can, but he is playing this out very cautiously. You'll love to see it. Not going to be overextending too deep into creep.
Meanwhile,
decent Widow Mine connection.
Yeah, honestly, there was a lot of friendly fire on the Marines, though, and now the Marines have gone. Now the boys are fighting against the Lings. Oh my god.
Yeah, last thing what happened. Oh, the Banelings are very exposed off of creep. The Widow Mites are not burrowed just yet. Won't quite be able to burrow, but that was some splits and some snipes coming out from Azure. Doesn't take too many Baneling connections, but he may have taken one too many as Crimson is regrouping. He has the defensive advantage. He is just getting his Ling Bane in position to deal with the follow-up from Azure.
Yeah, honestly, Crimson, he's doing it, mate. Like, he has plenty of Ling Bane to defend. On top of that, he was able to deal like a lot of economic damage across the map. Still has Lings in the natural, by the way. Finally, they're being cleaned up. And here we go. Crimson finally forces everything back here from Azure. And he survived long enough where, mate, the Hive is done.
It is, and the Ultra Cavern has been thrown down. I just realized he's getting 2-2 instead of 3-3.
He is. God damn it.
An awkward moment where all the mules are super exposed and they will go down. Azure's income plummets just from that. Yeah, it's an awkward moment where you finish high before you start 2-2.
Yeah, it just goes to show either how on point he was with his Hive or how late he was with his upgrades. But regardless, there it is. There's that Ultra Cavern. Adrenal Glands is going to finish up as well. And Azure's economy is just really struggling. If we look at the income graph, like, it's deep in the red, mate. Red for Crimson.
It's an absolute shambles. That's fitting.
Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, Azure, he's stuck at home struggling to defend. Again, still a lot of lost mining time here. The boys, there we go. They're finally being pulled back onto the mineral line. I'm just worried because I feel like there isn't a real answer to the Ultras. There are a lot of Widow Mines, and I guess with enough Widow Mine connections, you can deal with Ultras, but like, there aren't many Marauders, no Ghosts, no Libs, just Marines.
Yeah, mass Widow Mines will kill just about everything, but it's gonna be... I have my doubts that enough Widow Mine connections are going to be able to hit the Ultralists.
Exclamation mark Funada Chase in the chat. He's another player who just didn't sign up either today or yesterday. Talking about Ben's bank. Mate, that bank is for the Ultras. The Ultras, they're quite costly, mate. Jesus.
They absolutely are. But once they come out, it is well worth it. As you said, Azure just doesn't have an answer to those Ultralists. What are Marines really going to do? Maybe if the Widow Mines are able to take out the Ling Bane and then Azure like kites the best he can with Stim, then potentially?
Jesus Christ.
That's a very unlikely scenario.
It is.
What's more likely is for that Azure loses 13 SCVs to a Baneling run by.
That's exactly what happened. I don't know how the Baneling run by made it in. I was not expecting that whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Ultras, the Ling Bane is rushing across the map. There are still a lot of Widow Mines. How good are the connections going to be? Up.
Crimson does pull away. The Widow Mines connect with the Ultralists, but there are nowhere near enough Widow Mine connections to really take them out. Crimson is finally starting to bleed out units, though. Overseeing is welcome for just a second too long. But can Azure follow this up?
I don't know if he can, mate, especially because of all the losses that he has sustained. Like Crimson, he's just trading so well. Sure, he's not ending the game, but again, he's just crippling the economy, crippling the army, not allowing it to really get out of hand. And more ultras are coming out. Like that push, that was what with 2 ultras. Sorry, yeah, that was a push with 2 ultras,
Two
mate.
ultras.
Yeah.
One of them survived.
Yeah, and imagine that push with like 6 ultras, mate. That's what's about to happen. Oh my god.
Time is in fact a bit of a flat circle. Crimson lost a lot of lings, but he is looking to lose these lings. He wants it to apply for his ultras.
Sure, why not? Oh god, meanwhile we do have a marine drop here. What I will say is that the creep shred isn't amazing from Crimson. Ooh, a lot of queens are going down. Crimson a little bit distracted by these liberators, the ultras. They needed to be here towards the north, not the south. Oh my god. And
this is the first major victory coming out for Azure. The base should go down.
Oh my god.
And that closes the gap a little bit when it comes to the economy. Azure's able to keep the vast majority of his Marines alive as well.
Oof. I'm pretty sure what just happened there, by the way, is that at that last moment, Crimson, he hotkeeyed his army, and instead of hotkeeying the queens to go down south, he sent the ultras. That's why all the queens stayed and died. Like, oh god.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Liberator was taken out, thankfully, for Crimson. He still has a lot of ultras. He still can take a big engagement, but Liberator production and Marauder production has started.
It really has. Azure is finally starting to turn the tables. Stardock brings up a good point, by the way. Azure's on 3-3 upgrades without any combat shields.
Feels bad, man. We were talking about it earlier. I thought that eventually he would get concussive shells, but he still has not. Oh god.
Yeah, concussive shells aren't going to be too helpful against ultras, but you know, slowing down the banelings before they can connect with the rest of the bio is still going to be very useful. Oh, decent pick off here, forces a bunch of cancels on the banelings.
Yeah, exactly. All these things go down. Meanwhile, the ultras are trying to get on top of this bio army, but again, the Widowmine shots, they're actually, you know, slowing down the ultras, killing a couple of them.
They actually are. They're pretty down in the red. Once this Bioforce makes it back in position, they should be able to clear up the ultras. The repair on the planetary!
Can you do
so
it?
clutch! The planetary will go down, but so will every single one of the ultras.
Exactly.
And Azure, he's making it happen!
He is. He's across the map. Crimson, he is running out of resources. He's just traded so inefficiently against the banelings, and he was doing so well with the ultras, but mate, he can't stop with the man with gun.
It is just far too OP. Without a buffer for the Ultralists as well, they just pop like flies. Good game, well played, good luck. Azure was out of control for the majority of that game, but finally, once he saw an opportunity, he went straight for it. GG. Proving that you do not need combat shields.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Azure showing all of Terran players, mate. If you're playing a TvZ, you don't need combat shields. You don't need concussive shell. What are you on about, mate? It's just a waste of resources.
He realized how OP man with gun is, and decided, you know what? Let's give non-Terran players a chance here. And with that, I believe Azure makes it 4-2 to the semifinals. Yep,
mate. Yeah, that was so close, man. That was like talking a little bit more about that game, like that really could have gone either way. Crimson was doing so well taking up and really overwhelming the armies of Azure, but towards the end there he slipped up and made a couple too many mistakes there, right? He was working on a Spire, by the way. The Spire was a little bit late, so he didn't really have a proper answer to the Liberators. The creep spread was lacking because all his queens died. He wasn't able to rebuild those queens. Like, ugh. Yeah.
Definitely overextended a little bit there, Crimson did. I don't know if I want to call it tunnel vision, but there was definitely a point where he was focusing a little bit too much on the planetaries, was unable to deal with the SCVs that were actually repairing it.
Oh boy. Wow.
A little bit of that bloodlust.
Yeah, just a little bit too much there. That crimson dust, if you will. But
ooh, I like it. Crimson Dust? Question mark?
Oh god, Blood Crimson. I was trying to piece that together. But yeah,
I guess it works.
what a series, and as we were alluding to, Azure now goes up against Quantelme.